The Tampa Bay Lightning are sitting at 1-3-2 in their first 6 games of the 2025-2026 season. How did the best offensive team in the league last year have such a terrible start? And can they get back to where they were, where they scored 292 goals in a season? The first game of the year was a roller coaster for the Lightning. They had a 3-1 lead and ended up losing in regulation on a last-second goal from the Senators. The team looked out of sync that night, and their defense struggled to stay organized and break out the puck. They let up easy chances, and Vasilevsky bailed them out several times, but ultimately they lost, giving up 5 goals in regulation. In the second game, the Lightning played one of the worst professional hockey games I've ever seen. Simply completing a pass was a struggle for the Lightning, and they were outplayed in every aspect of the game by the Devils, losing 5-3. Then they took a road trip to Boston and played an afternoon game where their defense made some steps, and the big boys up front made some incredible plays to give the Lightning a 4-3 win. It didn't look great, but we could see the progress the team was making to get back to form. 2 flukes and 1 win, and the team's defense looked a little out of sync, and the offense has struggled to make quality scoring chances despite having some of the most talented players in the league on the roster. The next day, they played in DC, losing to the Capitals in overtime, something the Lightning are quite used to. The Lightning looked like they were accepting their offensive struggles by buckling down defensively, but it was a back-to-back on the road, and the Lightning only had 5 defensemen for the majority of the game, so a loss was disappointing but understandable. Then the game in Detroit happened, where the Lightning's offensive struggles overshadowed any highlights of that game. It took them 13.5 minutes to register their first shot of the game and totaled 11 shots after 2 periods. It wasn't just a lack of shots that plagued the Lightning, it was any offensive momentum whatsoever. They barely spent time in the offensive zone, and when they did, the puck was often taken away quickly and pushed down the other end of the ice. Kucherov was out that game, but the first 2 periods looked slow and uninspired. In the third, the Lightning flipped a switch and absolutely pummeled the Red Wings. They had 19 shots on net, and the Wings only won that game because of an outstanding performance by John Gibson. Then the Columbus game happened on Saturday, and the offensive struggles continued for the majority of that game. Shooting the puck became a dark and distant dream because the Lightning couldn't get any offensive zone time or fast breaks or shots from the point at all. They lost that game in regulation and looked badly outclassed against a team with also just 1 win. Nikita Kucherov, arguably the best player in the NHL, has been sick for part of the season, and when he is playing, he looks constantly frustrated, and it appears that defenses have him figured out. Brayden Point is one of the best centers and skaters in the league, but he can't seem to get out of his own way. His passes are getting blocked, his zone entries are failing, and his faceoff percentage is 36% right now. Victor Hedman was primarily responsible for the team's loss to the Capitals, where both regulation goals were his fault. He can't hit the net to save his life, and he's being passed by younger, quicker players. Eric Chernak and Ryan McDonough, the duo that led the league in plus-minus last year, can't seem to get the puck out of their own zone or make a D-to-D pass. Brandon Hagel, arguably the team's most valuable player last year, hasn't registered a goal or very many offensive chances at all. Jake Gensel has been the team's best player, but he gets slew-footed or slashed, or the puck hops over his teammate's stick when he tries to make a pass. Anthony Cirelli went 5 for 23 on the faceoff circle in the game against Boston. Speaking of faceoffs, the Lightning are now sitting at the worst faceoff percentage in the league at 42%. So what's happened? Well, the optimists would say that 2 back-to-backs in 1 week, plus some possible illness going around the locker room since Kucherov is sick, it could be spreading. The team didn't really play in the preseason because the Panthers were trying to give people concussions, and they've had some lingering injuries. Nick Paul, their third-line center, has been out all season. Zemgus Girgensons, their fourth-line center, hasn't played yet either. Max Crozier got hurt in the 4th game and is now on IR. Kucherov was sick and couldn't play. So a lot of the team hasn't been together, and we've barely seen the line combinations that got them so much success last year. On the other hand, even with injuries and back-to-back games and long flights, the Lightning have struggled to generate any real offensive pressure in any of the games they've played. Many fans point to shot totals, but the shot totals only tell a partial story. We're used to seeing the Lightning get outshot. They often try to pass the puck into the net and prioritize high-quality shots over quantity. This year, they're struggling to even get in the offensive zone, let alone shoot the puck. Last year, the biggest problem was depth, but the 4th line and 3rd lines of the Lightning have looked good so far. The 3rd line with Bjorkstrand, Gord, and Holmberg lead the team in plus-minus, and the 4th line hasn't allowed a goal yet this year. It's the big boys up front that have the worst stats so far. Kucherov and Point are sitting at -8 right now, and the forward that led the team in plus-minus last year, Brandon Hagel, is at -5. Something has to change for the Lightning, or it could be a long season. Watching as one of the most talented rosters in the league wastes another year. The Lightning have already made some roster changes, sending Connor Geekie down to Syracuse and bringing up Charles Destu. No, I'm saying that wrong. So, what do you think the problem is? Is it the effort level, the structure, or the players? Let me know. Thanks for watching.